we've had this, recent move up that's been really dramatic. Even today, Bitcoin's having a great push. But if we look at it, it's actually in a parallel channel. And you can see up here, and then a couple days ago we hammered on the 26,000 level. Today we pierced that level a little bit, and we're still kind of stuck in this sideways channel of price action. So at least over the next, let's say 1, 2, 3 weeks, this channel is what I'm following very closely. Can we get above? Can we stay above? If we can't and we kind of hover here, I would start expecting the Bitcoin price action to come back. Again, hate to be bearish out there. I know so many people are bullish. I'm just not seeing the signals yet. For me to be bullish overall and think a low is in on crypto and this isn't a bear market rally, we would actually have to establish ourselves back above 30,000. And we're not that far now. So, I mean, it could be in the next few weeks that I change my tune. But again, it has to be 30,000 because that's your midpoint. All right. So if we look at psychological levels on the chart, remember that big move up in early 2021 and then the pullback, right? And the low of that pullback of that cycle was
Bitcoin kept creating new highs during the weekend, surpassing the 28,000 level and getting everyone more excited about the future. One of the main reasons is we see traditional banks crash, and people try to find a safe haven for their money, injecting it into Bitcoin and Ethereum. When we look at the Fear and Greed Index for today, it changed from neutral to a higher level of greed, showing how bullish the community is. But is this the start of a new super cycle in Bitcoin or just a temporary hype that will soon disappear when investors return their money to the banks? Let's find out together. In this video, we will have master trader Gareth Soloway again from the InTheMoneyStocks.com and VerifiedInvestingCrypto.com do his updated chart analysis of what's happening in the markets. No one believed Gareth when he said Bitcoin was going down after the 65K level, nor did people believe when he was calling that Bitcoin was going down to 25,000. He has been calling a bottom around 9 to 12,000 since 2022. So let's see if his thesis change.
In the last week, we've seen Bitcoin and Ethereum in particular surge, right? We've seen bounces in altcoins, but I love the fact that we're seeing the leadership take over in crypto because we're looking at best of breed that's really taking off. And what that tells us is that there is money in the financial system that trusts Bitcoin and Ethereum enough to go there for safety. And remember, you're seeing the reason why the market, the stock market's decoupled and Bitcoin is going up while the stock market's going down is because of this financial turmoil. People are consciously making the decision that they want to take their money out of the fiat system and put it into the crypto markets. And I think that's fantastic. I mean, it doesn't necessarily make me think, hey, the bear market's over in crypto, but it certainly makes me think that Bitcoin now more than ever has a future in our society. I mean, this is why Bitcoin was created, right? I mean, this is literally why. And in terms of the S&P 500, I am in the camp that I do think the S&P has a lot of downside to go. I do think that what we're seeing in the banking system is the tremors or the earthquakes before the big one, where the economy does spin into a recession due to these massive hikes in interest rates. And that's going to really hurt the S&P 500, the NASDAQ, because again, remember, a recession means people have less money to spend. Less money to spend means less earnings per share for stocks, and that's going to then bring the valuations down quite substantially in the next 12 months. No, I mean, I've been a bear since the beginning of 2022 based on the fact that anytime you hike rates, and this is the kicker, and I learned this in the 2008-2009 financial crisis, I even learned this in the dot-com crisis, is that when you hike rates this substantially, this quickly, you're going to break things, right? Things can't, you have conditioned, essentially the Fed conditioned us as investors to think that they would always be there to bail us out and they would never give us tough love. Well, they're giving us tough love and it's causing a breakdown in the system. So I do think that, again, you're in this situation where you have to continue to think that we're headed towards recession, and then that recession will usher in downside, at least in the stock market. I still think it'll bleed into crypto a little bit and bring about potentially lower lows in crypto. But again, lower lows for me is just a buying opportunity at this point.
Next year, Bitcoin's halving is happening, and with that, Bitcoin usually gets momentum and creates higher highs. When asked if this will happen again, this is Gareth's answer.
I mean, historically it has, right? Historically, it's been kind of the beginnings of the next bull cycle, if you will. And I do think that there's a possibility of that. I do worry that, again, because we're in this uncharted territory of Bitcoin, not having the support of the Fed with printing, that it could be an issue. But then again, as I said, maybe in 2024, the Fed does come to the rescue, and then that all kind of coincides. Just looking at the chart on Bitcoin here, I think this is a fascinating chart where you see that we've had this, recent move up that's been really dramatic. Even today, Bitcoin's having a great push. But if we look at it, it's actually in a parallel channel. And you can see up here, and then a couple days ago we hammered on the 26,000 level. Today we pierced that level a little bit, and we're still kind of stuck in this sideways channel of price action. So at least over the next, let's say 1, 2, 3 weeks, this channel is what I'm following very closely. Can we get above? Can we stay above? If we can't, and we kind of hover here, I would start expecting the Bitcoin price action to come back in. I also wonder if, let's say the banking crisis does slow down and we do see some stability, do we see the money that was put into Bitcoin because of that instability being pulled back out and going back into the fiat system? And this is going to be this is going to be a really interesting situation to watch how this reacts. How do investors that put their money from the fiat system into the Bitcoin market, how do they react over the next couple of weeks if we see stability come back?
So according to Gareth and his technical analysis, this channel he shows may stop Bitcoin from having a more significant momentum to the upside even with all the hype. If that's the case, what are Gareth's price targets, and what would be necessary for his thesis to change?
Price target wise, I think ultimately I am on the downside here. I think as long as we are still up against this line, we have to respect it. So I'm looking for a pullback to the lower end of that channel, which is around the 20,000 level. Eventually, I think that actually breaks, and I do think we ultimately test over the next 2 to 3 months. We test that 15.7 level again. And again, hate to be bearish out there. I know so many people are bullish. I'm just not seeing the signals yet. For me to be bullish overall and think a low is in on crypto and this isn't a bear market rally, we would actually have to establish ourselves back above 30,000, and we're not that far now. So I mean, it could be in the next few weeks that I change my tune, but again, it has to be 30,000 because that's your midpoint. All right, so if we look at psychological levels on the chart, remember that big move up in early 2021 and then the pullback, right? And the low of that pullback of that cycle was right at 30,000. And then we went up and we made a new high, and then we came back down. We consolidated here at 30,000 and finally broke lower. So to establish ourselves back above 30,000 psychologically would be huge for the Bitcoin market, and that would actually get me on the side of thinking, okay, maybe the lows are finally in. Until then, I've been through too many bear market rallies that fooled me, so I'm still on the bear market side until proven otherwise. The charts are in charge here, so right now the charts haven't changed the tune that we're still in this bear market cycle. So for me, it would have to be when we get above that 30,000, that's when I start to look to buy pullbacks. And just to mention this too, is I've been long and short Bitcoin and cryptos overall, probably about 5 or 6 times just in the last month because of this awesome volatility. But I'm talking more on the macro view, the bigger move. Then I start kind of hodling on pullbacks and buying the positions to hodl versus just looking to trade them on the long side, which is what I've been doing recently. So I think, again, the 12,000 level is still out there. I even think there's a chance of 9,000. I hope I'm wrong, but again, I do think that is a possibility still.
So let's say Bitcoin doesn't go as low as Gareth predicts. When it creates its new bottom, if it didn't already, when can we see all-time highs happening again? What are his predictions?
So I think, again, once we're confirmed on that bottom, and again, whether that's already happened or not, I think you're looking 3 to 5 years out. I wish I could give a better time frame, but I do think, again, it'll coincide at least starting with the printing of money again, and also the regulation, right? And then that next big wave, I think, is going to be a huge bull market led by institutional money that's finally ready to kind of say, okay, we have the transparency from regulation, now let's get involved in crypto. And I even think that a recession, if I'm right, and the economy goes into a long drawn out recession because the Fed is going to be reluctant to print us out of it, that actually also helps the Bitcoin bull market, where we start to say, okay, stocks are no good because earnings keep coming down, so forget stocks, let's go to crypto. And that's where that pivot comes in, that real pivot that is the digital gold of Bitcoin comes in. So I think we probably bottom this year in Bitcoin, but I do think that people are really hanging their hats on that halving as being the catalyst for us to hit new all-time highs. I'm conservatively not so thrilled with that until we see that printing of money and really it flow into the system significantly and rates go back to very, very low levels, which I think will take longer than just up to the halving. So I think, again, that's the key, is that the bottom probably happens in the next 6, 8, 10 months, but I think it's going to take longer than people realize to get us back to new all-time highs.
Is the bottom finally in? We have seen some people say Gareth is wrong in the comments. Let us know your opinion and what price target you think Bitcoin is reaching next. And if you want to see more daily crypto content like this, please leave a like and subscribe. Thanks.